Good morning, Coffee Talk with Ann. Today we're talking about the tale of two markets. It's not story time, but I'd like to explain to people what it's kind of like out here in the real estate industry, which is that some part of the market is doing extraordinarily well. A house can hit the market, a buyer can dive right in and buy it in the first few days. Sometimes we're even seeing more than one buyer showing up to write an offer. It's not the craziness we saw in 2021 and part of 2022, but hey, that's still pretty good to get buyers on the hook right out of the gates. But on the other side, I've been showing lots and lots of properties lately, and there are houses sitting on the market for months. And these are not necessarily bad properties, but you find that sometimes they're priced really high for what their competition is ultimately selling for, and maybe their condition is not that dialed in. And it really does become a pattern that you see when you go out and see a lot of homes for sale, that the ones that are, not ready to show that well, they're not maybe deep cleaned, there's dirt, there's, just a lot of things about the house that when you walk in, you're like, gosh, it would have been nice to see the house in a little better shape. And then they're priced really high. Maybe they're priced over what they should be expecting, or maybe they're priced at the top of their range, but they're just not getting the showings. And what happens to a house like that, which is so tragic, is the number one question a buyer asks is, what's wrong with it? Why has it been sitting on the market for 3, 5, 7 months? And they get suspicious naturally. They're like, why has nobody bought this? Why has nobody gotten an offer accepted on this? They start to think maybe the seller's unrealistic, or they start to go, well, I can see why, maybe the condition, something about the location. On the flip side, a house hits the market and it's really ready to show and it's priced in the range it should be. And the buyers literally go, oh my gosh, it just hit the market. They want to buy it. And then sometimes somebody else does too. We're having an early spring. We're seeing buyer demand coming out of the gate strong, which is great news. But we did see interest rates tick up close to 7 recently. That has come into play a little bit. We don't know if we're going to go over 7% again, but it's looking like we're going to be in these high 6s for a bit. Those interest rates are not going to dip down this year. So if you're thinking about selling, I would do it sooner than later. And if you're a buyer and you see a house that's been on the market for a while, don't be afraid to write an offer on it. Maybe it's time to negotiate and see what is for everybody involved. Either way, the market's doing better than it did at the end of last year. So if you have any questions about the market, hit us up. We are out here. We are seeing it all in action because we're out in the field every day, and we want to make sure you guys have up-to-date information. All right. Cheers.